I'm attempting to build a classical style nylon guitar based on the guitar that my parents bought me when I was about 13 years old and I restored recently. Now then, it's going to need a new set of jigs, a new set of templates, a new set of ideas, a new set of skills, but I'm confident that I can pull something together because I know there are a lot of you kind people out there willing to give me advice. So I'm going to have a go and I hope you will join me. Well, hello everybody and welcome to my workshop. Now then, in the last episode I selected some woods for the top and the back and I glued them together. And now they're looking pretty good. Now this is Soprano and I've glued 3 pieces together, all of which are 2mm thick, and it's looking pretty nice. Now my intention is to use this on the top of the guitar. Now, it's not an ideal wood for the top of the guitar, I've been advised, and also it's a little bit noisy visually. I don't know how I'm going to do a sound hole, so I'm still deciding whether to keep this or not, but it does look really nice. Now for the back, I have this walnut, and again this is looking really nice, and this is 4 pieces glued together, and again they're about 2mm thick, and I've sanded both of these blanks down to 240 grit, so they're looking pretty nice for this stage, and I'm quite happy with this on the back of the guitar. I think before I go any further I'm going to cut out the rough shape of the guitar on both these pieces, and to do that I've made myself a blank this morning out of some MDF, so I've now got the shape, and well, it's just about finding the best place. The thing about Soprano is the lines disguise any joints, and it is really hard to see where this thing is joined, so I'm hoping that gives me some flexibility where I put the template, because I've got a little mark there, a little chip out of the wood, which unfortunately will come right on top of the guitar if I centralise it. So I think if I drop the guitar down a bit, drop the template down I should say, then I'm going to avoid that little mark there, and I think it's going to look pretty good. So let's get this marked out. Well, not only does the figuring disguise the joints, it also disguises the pencil line as well, so that was a bit of a fiddle. And also I've noticed by moving it down to the bottom edge I've gone to a very thin bit of the wood. I hadn't appreciated that. One of these things you do. So what I've done, I've put some super glue on there to strengthen it. I might have to do something with that. I'm hoping that, I won't put it on the ground, that when I actually cut it into the size and put the binding on, etc., that I'm actually back into the thick part of the wood. But yeah, well, you know me, there's always one issue to do. One thing I'm going to do before I go much further is transfer the centre line which I've got on the front of this template to the back. Now you'll notice I've added an extra light here because it was always a problem when I was working on this vise. I couldn't actually see what I'm doing on the back because all the lights are in the middle there, which is a good idea I thought at the time, but yeah, you do need lights all the way round. But now I can actually see what I'm doing at this end, so you never know, might actually get some quality work done. Right, here we go. Whatever style guitar you're making, I think it's always a good idea to get yourself a body template, and it's fairly easy to make it. You can make it out of scraps of wood, and once you've made your template, mark the centre line on it. I'm also going to mark where the bridge should be as well. Okay, now to the walnut on the back. Now this is the back of the sheet. I've marked it. That's the front. It's rather nice there. So that's the back. And I'm going to flip this over, even though it is symmetrical. I'm just going to do it flipped over anyway, and I'm going to centre it on the centre line with this one, and well, let's draw a line around it and see what it looks like. I'm not sure how clearly you can see this. It comes down here at the bottom here, it goes up there at the top. Looks really nice. You're going to get this nice white or light coloured band going through the top and the bottom edge. I've got a nice piece of grain in the middle there. Do you know what? I think that looks all right. Now there are a couple of places there where it's a bit dodgy. I've got a split there in the wood, so I'm going to use the same technique and put some super glue in there and hope that's going to hold together. So what I'm going to do is cut this part of the body and the back end of the body with a knife, because I think the saw is just a little bit too vicious for it. So let's see if we can just cut this out. Yeah, you can see where that's splitting. Okay, well, all these little challenges are here to entertain us, so I'm sure we can work around them. Now, I know this glue is going to soak through to the front, so it's going to get a bit of a dark line there, but I think once it's oiled, it will be all right. I'll put some weight on that, I think. Second thoughts, let's just tape it down. When I made my Telecaster from an old scaffolding board, I had to use quite a bit of super glue to fix splits in the wood there. I know the wood was thicker, but in actual fact the super glue really did a good job, and it's absolutely solid now, so I'm hoping that this will be okay. But hey, on a positive note, I've got loads of bits of veneer now. Look at that. Whoops. That I can use on things. Put those away somewhere safe. It's been a couple of hours since I put the super glue on there, and I think it's fixed it. There's no problem with that anymore. It's a little bit dark on that side, but I don't think you'll see that once we've varnished it or oiled it, and it's certainly more rigid, so that's done. But the Zebrano is still a bit of a problem. The super glue has strengthened it, but it's still too thin. So now, acoustic guitar builders, you can look away now, because I'm going to do something which I'm sure you shouldn't do, and that is to put a fillet in there, which I'm going to squeeze down as tight as I can, and then once it's dry, sand it or plane it down flush with the back there. So it's not the way to do it, but it's the way I'm going to do it. So let's get some glue on there, and I always end up with too much glue. Look at that. Oh, never mind. I've put some wax on this board, so hopefully it won't stick to it. Yeah, it's one of those things, isn't it? Never mind. I'm sure it'll be fine once it's all dried. I ideally need to hold that in position. I wonder if I can do that with some masking tape. Well, I think it's going to do the trick. I'm going to let it cure and then we'll see. I'll wash this out and then I will show you an exciting new device that I'm working on. And for this we have to venture down into the deepest, darkest part of the workshop. And this is going to be my Go Bar. deck. So I'm just going to slide out this curved surface, and I will demonstrate. I have now fitted this lift up flap, which will come up here and just clip onto that shelf, so that I can use some go bars here to hold things down on this base plate. And the thought struck me, what can I use as go bars? Well, I do hang on to things, and if we've had any old vertical blinds in the past, I always hang on to the metalwork because it makes great levelling beams. And also down the centre of these blinds are these aluminium rods, and it just occurs to me they're quite flexible, and I think these will make excellent go bars. All I've got to do is cut them to size. Now, bearing in mind that anything I glue here is going to be higher than this base plate, I'm figuring that if I go to the lowest point on the base plate there and bring my measure up to the underside of the top there, that's probably a good length to start with, and that's 43 centimetres. Of course, for all you keen-eyed folk out there, it's going to be 43 centimetres plus the length of the measure, which is 8 centimetres. So 43 plus 8 is going to be 51. So let's do it 51. Okay, let's try it. Now then, I've got a couple of pieces of wood just to simulate sticking a brace down. Put that underneath there. Well, yeah, it does work. In a way, I think I could go with a shorter length actually, take a centimetre off that. Right, well, I'm back with a selection of go bars made from scraps of wood and from the aluminium. So, gosh, I'm feeling like a real acoustic builder now. I had to make a couple of minor modifications because this board was moving up and down too much, and things are dropping out. It's now much more secure. I've got a little pad there which holds that firmly on this shelf, and I've also got this beam here which attaches to the shelf above, and that gives it some rigidity. So yeah, it's looking pretty good. And while we're down this end of the workshop, let me show you the modification I made to my forma. Now, this is, somebody mentioned that I might have a bit of problems bending that rosewood because it looked like it was short grain, and I might need something to hold it down. Well, I found this canvas, so what I'm going to do is clamp that block down there, and then clamp these blocks of wood here to the sides. So it should look something like this when it all goes together. And I'm hoping, whoops, I'll clamp that down first obviously, and I've got holes on the other side as well, so I can clamp it on both sides, like so. And just race round in front of the camera, grab another clamp, put it here, clamp that in there. So that should hold the whole lot fairly tight, and this canvas has been quite tough. I'm hoping we'll keep the all the grains together. That's the idea. Now then, I've let this little fillet piece here glue overnight, and on the edge there it's about 2 mil. Hope you can see that. But now I need just to flatten this so it's all smooth across the back. So I'm going to use a scraper and a piece of card just to protect the back of the top there. Don't forget, this won't be seen, it will be underneath the top, but even so, it'd be nice to get it all smooth. Right, well, I think that's done. You certainly can't see there's anything amiss from the front, and if I turn it over, you can't see that it's been fixed, really. It's certainly smooth, so I think we've fixed that little problem. Now, before I go any further, I'm going to have to sort out how the front of this guitar is going to look, because this soprano is very noisy. But I've had an idea, and it's a bit off the wall. Let me show you. Now, just for the purposes of illustration, I've dug out this old bridge and a bit of fretboard, and this is definitely not going to be used. I'm going to make one. I'm not sure about the fretboard yet. Anyway, that's by the by. At least it gives an idea of where things are placed. Now then, my problem. I don't think a conventional sound hole and rosette is going to work, because I think it's just going to get lost in all of this noise. I mean, you can see from my old nylon guitar, you know, where I've put a marquetry rosette, that would just get buried in all of the Zebrano stripes. So that's not going to be any good. Okay, so now my off-the-wall idea. And let me try and explain the logic behind it. I think in order for this top to work, the sound hole or holes are going to have to be really simple and effectively just a silhouette of something or other. And when I look at this Zebrano, I'll just take these bits off, I see ripples on the sea. I don't know what you see, but I can imagine looking out to sea on a fairly calm day, just as the sun is perhaps going down, and you see these dark lines across the water there. So I thought, why don't I put a couple of dolphins on the front? So, okay, this is a bit wacky, but hey, this is my acoustic and it's a bit of an experiment. So, to experiment with this idea, I took a photo of the Zebrano top and brought it into the GIMP, the open source graphics package on Windows. And then found a couple of dolphin silhouettes and placed them on the top, bearing in mind where I might need to put bracing. And that's going to be something I've got to work out. Now then, what this means is I'm going to have to darken the back, the inside back of the guitar, probably stain it black, because I don't think it's going to work otherwise. But I do think that the silhouette dolphins are going to stand out. And also, I'm going to think about staining the top. And I've got this lovely aqua blue stain, which I used for my first guitar that I built, the blue guitar. So I did a quick simulation of this, and also simulated what would it look like if I had a streak of sunlight coming across the guitar from the top corner, catching those dolphins. Now then, I want the dolphins to look like they are part of the top. I don't want it to be disjointed. So, as you will know, my wife Carolyn is a great artist and a designer, and she's going to come up with some sketches for me of the sort of splashes that you'd get when the dolphins leave the water, so that I can produce those on the top of the guitar using wood inlays and mother of pearl inlays to get the highlights. Giving myself a bit of a challenge here, I have to be perfectly honest with you. But, you know, if you don't try it, you don't know, do you? This is the thing. So, this guitar is going to take quite a while to finish, so I do hope you'll stick with me on this series. I'm going to try and put out regular videos, but yeah, there will be quite a few, I think. Anyway, thank you for watching this one. I shall be back hopefully next week with the next instalment. So please leave a comment below, and please don't forget to hit subscribe. Thank you. Cheers.